The Knicks are coming off a big win, home victory that they had over the Miami Heat on Thursday night. They've got 2 games left on their 4-game homestand. So let's talk some Knicks hoops with New York Post sports reporter Zach Braziller. Zach, how's it going? You staying warm in these New York streets?
Man, it is brutal. Um, but hey, it's basketball season. You don't expect anything else, I guess.
That is
And
true.
the Knicks are. I'll tell you what a bizarre. I tweeted the other day. What a bizarre team. What a strange season.
Yes.
Whenever you think they're gonna fall apart, they find a way to turn around. Whenever you think they're really onto something, they stub their toe. Just a absolutely just unpredictable, wacky season
Well,
they're having. I'll tell you.
that's the word there, Zach, when you talk about it this week, right? Because the Knicks, they lose to the Lakers, but they beat the Heat. You talked about the word unpredictable. Is it hard to get a gauge on what this team can be with how unpredictable that they've been this season?
Yeah, it's impossible. I mean, the win over the Heat was kind of a perfect summation of this season. They start well, then they a few times during that game they look like they're on their last legs, and you have Miles McBride who's been absolutely brutal offensively lately, hits some big shots. Hartenstein's been really good of late. RJ really bounced back from his benching. Grimes had his best game in weeks, and they found a way to hold on without their best player, Jalen Brunson, who was sick. And it's kind of a typical thing of the Knicks this year. They like whenever you think they're going one way, they go the other. And you know, you could say, well, you could be frustrated by their consistency, but you have to also be encouraged by how they deal with adversity, because whenever it looks like they're about to kind of go in the tank and have an extended losing streak, or lose 9 of 10, 11, they find a way to pull out a big win. And that was a huge win. That they could have been 3 games behind the Heat for that 6th spot with a loss. Instead, they're 1 back. And they're still right there for that 6th seed with the trade deadline, only a few days away.
Yeah, indeed was a big win for the Knicks. You talked about Julius Randle, who we're going to talk about. We talked about Jalen Brunson as their best player. Now, Julius Randle, he was the Knicks' lone All-Star selection, but there's been some talk among Knicks fans that Jalen Brunson, who you mentioned, was also deserving of a spot. Do you think Brunson got snubbed here?
Yeah, I do, but I also think you have to look at it in the grand scheme. When you have to look at all these all-stars. The East is incredibly loaded. Does Brunson deserve to be an all-star? Yes, but you have to look at who made it over: Tyrese Halliburton, Drew Holiday, guys like that. Remember, James Harden didn't make the all-star team. So while yes, Brunson did get snubbed and deserved to be, I think he's the Knicks MVP. I don't think there's any question about it. You also have to understand that it's a loaded league with a million top guards. And look, he still might end up going there as an injury replacement. A million guys, in the past have kind of backed out for different reasons. So yeah, I think Randall's had a great year. I really do. He's been phenomenal on the glass. He's only shooting around 34% from 3, but he's been really, really good. He's adjusted his game to play with Brunson. I don't think any Knicks fan had expectations of him being this good, but clearly Brunson's the MVP. I don't think there's any question about it. You go back to that Laker game when he actually carried them, and I'm still scratching my head why he didn't get that last shot in regulation instead of Randall. But, in the long run, does it really matter? No. Jalen Brunson is a team-first guy. He doesn't, I'm sure he's going to say when we talk to him later that he was happy for Julius and no issues there. So, it's one of those things. All-star games in the long run don't really matter.
Right. It isn't really about that. Now, one thing that Knicks fans are going to have their eye on is the trade deadline. We are 5 days away from the trade deadline, Zach. Do you think it's more likely the Knicks have the same roster or a different roster after the trade deadline on Thursday?
Oh, different roster. Cam Reddish is going to get traded. I don't think there's any question about that. I can see Fournier getting moved. I can see Rose getting moved. Look, this team deserves an upgrade. This team has proven it is worthy of the front office going and adding a difference maker, whether that's OJ Anunoby, whether that's Sadiq Bey or Josh Hart or any of the guys out there. They deserve it. Like, look, I'm not saying you go and trade all your first round picks and all of that kind of thing, but they do deserve at least a rotational guy that can help this team. The bench clearly needs another scorer. this team is right there to finish sixth. I saw the Heat are a good team. Knicks are just as good as the Heat. To me, there's no question about it. The Heat are not what they've been. They're not great defensively. The Knicks beat them the other day without Brunson. Leon Rose needs to do something. I've been on this opinion. The Knicks have won one playoff series in two decades. I understand the whole waiting for a superstar thing, but at some point you got to try to win, and winning matters. That's how you attract these super players, by showing you're a quality organization. The Knicks need to go out and get someone good. Use a few picks. Use some of your young assets, whether it's Obi Toppin or someone like that. I would not trade Grimes unless it's really the right deal. Obviously, they're not trading Quickly, who's been absolutely fantastic this year. But Leon Rose needs to make a move to help this team, have a shot to get into that main draw and win a series.
All right, we will see if the Knicks do make a move. 5 days left until the trade deadline. Knicks have 2 games left on this homestand against the Clippers and the Sixers. We'll see how those games shake out. That is Zach Priscilla. He'll be all over the Knicks coverage. Zach, thank you for your time. We'll talk soon, man.
Hey, man, anytime. No Kyrie to the Knicks, though. Let's remember that.
Oh, well, listen, I'm glad we got through this conversation without having to talk about Kyrie to the Knicks. We're not even going to do that. We won't even tease the people with that. We'll leave that alone. We'll leave that one alone. Thanks, Zach.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too.